Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 250. Trump says drop the filibuster. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 250th episode of the JP8 Report. Thank y'all very much for tuning in today. I can't believe I finally made it. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. I got to take care of business first with the America 250 stuff, right? But let's see. So welcome to the JPA Report. Click that follow button if you have never clicked that follow button before, and then give us a thumbs up for the day's episode. And then please share the post and repost it if you can. All right. So welcome to the JP8 Report. And let's see. We'll start with America 250 for October 31st, 1775. Patriot forces under Patrick Cunningham captures 1,000 pounds of gunpowder from the British, and I believe that happened in Virginia. All right. And then I have a letter from Thomas Jefferson to John Page. And then we have this stuff. Tomorrow's a big day in American history, okay? So first is Thomas Jefferson to John Page on October 31st, 1775. Dear Page, he wrote this from Philadelphia. Dear Page, we have nothing new from England or the camp before Boston. By a private letter this day to a gentleman of Congress from General Montgomery, we learn that our forces before St. John's are 4,000 in number besides 500. Canadians, the latter of whom have repelled with great intrepidity 3 different attacks from the fort. We apprehend it will not hold out much longer than Montrose, St. Luc, Delacorne, and several other principal inhabitants of Montreal who have been our great enemies have offered to make terms. This St. Luc is a great seigneur of the Canadians and almost absolute with the Indians. He has been our most bitter enemy. He is acknowledged to be our greatest of all scoundrels. To be assured of this, I need only to mention to you that he is a ruffian who has been when during the last war, Fort William Henry was surrendered to the French and Indians on condition of saving the lives of the garrison, and every soul murdered in cold blood. The check with the Canadians received at first is now wearing off. They were made to believe we had an army of 15,000 men going there. This put them in high spirits, but when they saw Montgomery with but 2,700, they were thunderstruck at the situation they had brought themselves into. However, when they found even this small armament marched boldly to invest St. John's and put a good face on the matter, they received, and the recruits since have contributed to inspirit them more. I have sat partly nearly one day in every week since I came here to write letters. Notwithstanding this, I have never received the script from a pen from any mortal breathing. I should have accepted 2 lines from Mr. Pendleton to desire me to buy him 24 pounds of wire, from which I concluded he was alive. I speak not for this. I speak not this for you, from whom I would not wish to receive a letter till I know you can write one without injury to your health. But in the future, as I must be satisfied with information from my colleagues that my country still exists, so I am determined to be satisfied with the upholstery communications, the sparse, of what passes within our knowledge. Adieu, dear Page. So that was a letter from Thomas Jefferson to John Page, talking about how they deceived the Canadians, that we had this one massive army marching toward Upper Canada, and we scared them away, and we had enough people to overwhelm and win. Okay. And it looks like there was some code in there also that he didn't want to give up the location of his friends and allies. But that was from Thomas Jefferson. Now, on the 1st of November, 1775, this is the big day. So if y'all been following the JP8 report back a couple of months ago, we remember this is 1775 and not 1776. But back a couple of months ago, we sent King George III a thing called the Olive Branch Petition, right? And what it said in the Olive Branch Petition was that we promised to be loyal servants to the king if you give us certain rights, including autonomy, self-autonomy, I think that's what it's called, of the American colonies, and give us rights to go along with it, and representation in Parliament and stuff like that, right? And so they wrote this all up in the Olive Branch Petition and sent it to England. And we know back in August, I think it was August 23rd or something like that, they tried to present it to the King of England, King George III, crazy King George. He wouldn't even read it. He wouldn't even entertain it. And he issued a response to the Olive Branch Petition. And on November 1st, which is tomorrow, is the 250th anniversary of that response back to the colonists, okay? Or us Americans. And I normally don't want to try to read anything from England because I'm one of those said patriots, right? And most of us are anyway. These days it's kind of hard to tell. But this is what King George III wrote in response to us trying to give him the olive branch. Okay, so whereas many of our subjects in diverse parts of our colonies and plantations in North America, misled by dangerous and ill-designing men and forgetting the allegiance which they owe to the power that has protected and sustained them, at the various disorderly acts committed in disturbance of the public peace, to the obstruction of lawful commerce, and to the oppression of our loyal subjects carrying on the same, have at length proceeded to an open and avowed rebellion, by arraying themselves in hostile manner to withstand the execution of law, and traitorously ordering and levying war against us. And whereas there is reason to apprehend that such rebellion hath been much promoted and encouraged by the treacherous correspondence, counsels, and comforts of divers wicked and desperate persons within this realm, to the end, therefore, that none of our subjects may neglect or violate their duty through ignorance thereof, or through any doubt of the protection which the law will afford to their loyalty and zeal, we have thought fit, by and with the advice of our Privy Council, to issue this royal proclamation, hereby declaring that not only all our officers, civil and military, are obliged to exert their utmost endeavors to suppress such rebellion and to bring the traitors to justice, but that all our subjects of this realm and the dominions thereunto belonging are bound by law to be aiding and assisting in the suppression of such rebellion, and to disclose and make known all traitorous conspiracies and attempts against us, our crown and dignity. And we do so accordingly, strictly charge and command that our officers, as well as civil and military, and all other our obedient and loyal subjects, to use their utmost endeavors to withstand and suppress such rebellion, and to disclose and to make known all treasons and traitorous conspiracies which they shall know to be against us, our crown and dignity, and for that purpose that they transmit to one of our principal secretaries of state or other proper officer, due to the full information of all persons who shall be found carrying on correspondence with, or in any manner or degree aiding and abetting the persons now in open arms and rebellions against our government with any of our colonies and plantations in North America, in order to bring condign punishment the authors, perpetrators, and abettors of such traitorous designs, given at our court at St. James's the 23rd day of August, 1775, in the 15th year of our reign. God save the King. I'm sorry about the dramatics at the end. He's mad. I don't care for the way England treated the American colonies. I don't really care. And I'd be one of those patriots out there fighting against the crown. But he was openly, I've never read that proclamation before. He was PO'd, okay? Let's put it like that, all right? Wow. And the gates are open. Let's not wait till July 4th. Let's start now. Wow. Okay. Anyone? No comments on that one. Okay. Well, that was King George III's response to us issuing our olive branch petition. We go in there with the olive branch. He comes back with the oak stick, and then we come back with gunpowder. All right. We showed them. 1781, in October 1781 is when we won at Yorktown. So, hey, we went in. All right. So that's America 250 for today and tomorrow. Come on. There we go. All right. So, go back. Come on. There we go. Stop. Like I said, I hate PowerPoint. Stop. Alto. All right. So, Dalmatian, Texas Burger Group. They're homemade smash burgers here in Texas with our hot dogs. They have a good selection to choose from. All ingredients are homemade. They're including their buns. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from They're open Tuesdays through Saturday, 11:30 to 2, 11 to 2, and then 5:30 to 7 unless they sell out. And then they're located in Coppers Cove, Texas, over by Killeen, behind Bush's Chicken on the west side. And I recommend the Armadillo Burger, but they got singles, doubles, and triples, every combination. The prices are the same no matter what you get. All right? So that's the Dalmatian. Go back to me. Switch slides. Alrighty. So before we get to the title, this is my 250th episode of the JP8 report. I don't know if anyone's watching right now that's been with me since the very beginning, but we started on January 1st. Well, I started on January 1st of 2021 when President Trump was still president in his first term. We've been doing episodes ever since. I took a couple of breaks because I got so busy in the business that we ended up losing. But I started back in essence in the middle of June, and we've been doing episodes 5 days a week, pretty much 5 days a week. I've missed one due to Labor Day, I think it was. I digress. My funnest episode, if you ever want to go back and see a cool episode of the JP8 report where I just let my hair down and have fun, go back to episode 118, all right? That was July 4th, 2023, and that's when I introduced myself as a correspondent for Rebel TV, right? And I was breaking news, and someone handed me the Declaration of Independence, and I read it. But we all know that's not exactly how it happened, but for dramatic effects. I mean, I dressed myself in wraparounds and scarf and had camouflage behind me. It was really cool, right? But that was July 4th, 2023, episode 118. And I've been doing episodes. I used to just tape them and put them out. Then I started doing lives. And then when I started back up again in June, it's been nothing but lives. And like last week, I transitioned from just doing Rumble Live to Rumble Studio, which has been a transition also, but which has been fun. I've been building my viewership back up because evidently you take a hit when you go from a Rumble Live to a Rumble Studio. That's all right. You get a more accurate audience with Rumble Studio, and I intend to stay like that. And then I've branched back out and doing Rumble, streaming through Rumble to Facebook and X, and I'm trying to get to the point where I can go on to YouTube again until they give me my strikes and I can no longer go on YouTube. I really don't. I really don't care because I'm going to give you all the truth anyway. But yeah, so we've been doing this for almost 5 years. So if you take the number of episodes, it's pretty much 5 years, 250 episodes. That's about one episode a week. So that's with those 2 gaps that I had in broadcasting. And if you noticed, before June, I had a different backdrop because I am a Texan and I had my Texas flag behind me. But I found this better backdrop because it has the Declaration of Independence. And I wanted to put the emphasis on this right now, doing the America 250 march. And I'm not just going to stop on July 4th. I'm going to continue on with the American Revolution because we have all kinds of stuff like Saratoga, we have Brandywine, we have Yorktown, which was way back in 1781. We have all kinds of battles that took place, the crossing of the Delaware, the Battle of Princeton, everything, the Declaration of Independence, everything. The first reading of the Declaration, But I'm going to continue on with that. All right. So, with that being said, let's go forward with the JP8 report for the day, October 31st. All right. So, the first part is Trump says drop the filibuster. You know, he's only going to say this because he's at wit's end. We got these, just like King George said, people being traitorous. They want to hurt Americans. He's frustrated. You know, we all know that if you know the Constitution, the filibuster is a tradition. It's not even in the Constitution, right? It's just a matter of making the Senate a deliberative body, slow thinkers, that originally, if you remember, if you read in the Constitution, the House of Representatives was supposed to be elected every 2 years, which it is, right? And it was supposed to be representative of the people, right? Of particular districts. And then they're gauged by the population in each state. And then the Senate was to represent the governments in each state with 2 senators, and they were elected by the state legislators and sent to Washington, right? Until that changed with the 19th Amendment, I think. Oh man, I can't remember. Oh, I'm losing it. Okay. But that's the constitutional amendment made senators elected by the people, right? Open election instead of by the state. It really needs to be given back to the states. But it's a constitutional amendment. We gotta abide by that. So they instituted these rules in the Senate a long time ago, and they've been it used to be 75 senators, and then slowly diluted the strength of the Senate with the filibuster now to where it is 60 votes. So you have to vote cloture at 60 votes. You get that, you can open up a debate and pass your legislation with a simple majority. But like right now in recent memory, even with Republicans and Democrats, they've used the filibuster as a stalling tactic to try to get their way. This government shutdown, it'll on Monday, because the Senate's already left. The Dems, they cut sling load and they're gone, right? So they're not going to do another cloture vote, attempted cloture vote, until Monday, which would be, this is day 31, then we got 32, 33, that'll be day 34. Tuesday would be the longest day of a government closure in history, right? That means bills aren't getting paid. That means soldiers aren't getting paid. Civilians in the government aren't getting paid. Now, I'll tell you, I do have it written in here. Let me go ahead and mark that off. I'm working on this. The military, okay, I'll get to the government shutdown in just a second after this one. But it's gotten to the point now where even the President of the United States says, just be done with it. The consequences of that is, if there's ever a Democrat Congress, a president and a full Democrat Congress, they can do the same thing that we're about to do. So if we run roughshod of the rules in the Senate and pass all this legislation to get stuff done, and 100 years from now, a Democrat finally gets elected president again, and he has a Democrat Congress, both Senate and House, he can undo a lot of the laws that we pass. You know, you got your, in the military, well, like what we say, you have your second and third order of effects, right? So when you open up the Pandora's box and pull out stuff, you're going to pull out some pretty bad stuff, because sooner or later a Democrat will get lucky and they'll be in power. And that's the bad part about doing the yeah. I just saw a headline go across my computer, and Trump said play the Trump card and do away with the filibuster. It may come to that. It's up to John Thune if he wants to play that card and lift the filibuster and just do it by simple majority vote. Me, I hate what's going on. I mean, I'm protected because I'm a veteran, right? My disability through the VA and my retirement pay is through the military retirement fund. It's fully funded. It ain't going away. But just think about all these other federal people that aren't getting paid. Think about the FBI. Think about the air traffic controllers, the lawyers for the Department of Justice, the air traffic controllers, the people working in different cabinets. They're not getting paid, and they're required by law to come to work. There's some being furloughed, like I have a daughter that receives Chapter 35 benefits through me to finish up her college degree. There's a software glitch at the VA right now, right? For paying out Chapter 35. 75,000 recipients can't get their VA Chapter 35 stipend, right? Because the only person that can fix this software glitch is furloughed, and they can't bring them back. Now, my daughter told me that she received her disability, not her disability, her benefit, her stipend. I'm the one with the disability, but she received her stipend last night. So maybe there's a delay in the system, but still, there's 75,000 people waiting for the VA to be able to get this person back to work, right? And this just carries on to the next one about the shutdown. So we're still talking about the shutdown because this is day 31 of it. And so my son-in-law is in the Army. He's active duty. He's an NCO. He's a Black Hawk and Apache repairman. Really good guy, right? And it's disheartening when you know you got money supposed to come in and it doesn't, and because of the button of heads in the United States Senate about this cloture vote and getting the government back open. And my daughter asked me if I got paid, and I told her yes, because I just checked. And she said, well, Caleb's not getting his. And all I could do is tell her I'm sorry and make sure they got money. I don't have a lot coming in. But we were prepared to help to get them if they need any help with anything. But and then then I found out last night. Well, she had texted me and said Caleb's getting paid, and I said how? And then I looked it up, and the Sec War, along with the president, issued instructions to find the money, and they found 3 different accounts that still had money left over from this FY, and they were able to redirect those funds to pay the Army and the Air Force. And there was the third group, and I didn't write them down, and I'm not going to look it up on my phone, but we found it through the American Legion, the article, and it was specified that all the branches of the service will be paid by today. So that covers them from this period. Now they got to march forward the next hard time for them is the 14th of November, which is the next payday for the military. But what about the rest of the people that aren't getting paid, right? It's kind of hard to ask people to be prepared to give your life for your country and not get anything in return. But all said and done, you still got those people that have to come to work with nothing. Can you imagine being ICE and going to apprehend armed illegal aliens out there that don't want to go back to their home countries, and they're shooting at you, right? Because that is happening, right? There was a 14th vote yesterday, and this is the bad thing about the news media. They sometimes don't tell the whole thing. I must have searched and searched and searched because I wanted to find out what that vote was, but I can probably tell you it was 55-45 or 54-45, and a combination thereof. It might have been a little bit less than that because they escaped and went home. I guess they wanted to be home for Halloween, put their mask on, look in the mirror, and scared of themselves. Maybe they'll scare themselves straight and come back and vote for cloture and then pass and open up the government. Let's see. But the next hard thing is tomorrow. Tomorrow, there's the SNAP and EBT runs out of money. They need $9.2 billion. I tell you what, if you want that to happen, this government is still closed. Why don't one of the why don't those rich Democrats like George Soros write up a $9 billion check and then give it to the government to fund SNAP? Oh wow, that might be. Wonder if George Soros would ever do something like that. Write a $9.2 billion check. If y'all think that he would do something, tell me something in the chat. If George Soros would actually ever write a $9.2 billion check to fully fund SNAP, right? Or do you think he would be just an obstructionist and never let it go through, right? Nope, no one's answering. So I'm going to just put it in there. No. So people know that I'm actually... There we go. Okay. So I answered. Because I don't think he would. Man. All right. Onward to the next one. We got that one done. The president's back at the White House. He got back yesterday afternoon just in time to participate in Halloween celebration at the White House. Thousands of people actually participated. The president put a disguise on. He was dressed as the president. I'm joking. But they were giving candy out to thousands of people last night. Unbelievable. And did I write it down? Yep, I sure did. There's this one family that came by in a wagon, and they made a backdrop of McDonald's and came by the first couple. That was unbelievable. I don't know if y'all saw it or not. That was so cool. They had two toddlers in a wagon in the backdrop of McDonald's. And that was, I don't know if y'all remember during the presidential campaign, President Trump was working the drive-thru, and these people remembered. It was a cool thing to see. All right, so onward to more vital things to our country. Let's see right here, Arctic frost update. Arctic frost update. I missed it yesterday. I'm reading my notes. So with an Arctic frost yesterday, I missed it where Verizon challenged Jack Smith on the subpoena for all these phone records. but they kowtowed to Jack Smith and gave up the records, right? But AT&T challenged it and refused to comply, and that was the one with Senator Cruz's phone records. All right, and then the president said he wants people to go to jail for this. All right, I agree. There's no reason why that should happen. Over 400 Republicans and Republican organizations were investigated through Arctic frost. Without, I mean, if y'all listen, go back and listen to yesterday's podcast, okay? And I showed some of the subpoenas. Written in the subpoena was a warning to each person that got these papers from the FBI. They were not allowed to tell the person that was being investigated that they were being investigated. I mean, totally against the Fourth and Fifth Amendment, and I believe is the Sixth Amendment also. But that was under criminal threat. I already took it off the slides. Under criminal threat, it is against the law to disclose to the person that is being investigated that these records were given to the FBI. BS. Should have never have happened. Next, where did the $90 million from the BLM donations go? That was referred from the Eastern District of California. I believe it's called the Eastern District or the Central District, to the Department of Justice for further investigation. So evidently millions of dollars from the BLM donations back in 2020 disappeared. All right. Secretary of Treasury asked that Senator Warren and Senator Klobuchar to stop writing him because their wording is incoherent. He could not understand what they were writing him. All right. Total word salads. I was going to print it off and read it, but I was even confused on what they were even trying to put together in a paragraph to give to the press about the government shutdown. All right. Done. We're escaping time. It's already 38 minutes after. It's get out the vote time in the mayor elections in New York City, and then governor's elections in New Jersey and Virginia. There's a poll now. Okay, so if you watch Fox News, they got a poll that says 52-45 Mikey Sherrill over Jack Citarelli, but that was a Fox News poll, and then New York Post poll had a poll come out and said the race is 49-48. So that means get out and vote. So if you're in New York City, or if you're in the state of New Jersey, or if you're in the state of Virginia, you need to get out and vote for Republicans the day, if there's still early voting going on where you live at, or on election day on Tuesday, right? I saw a little bit of the town hall with Mr. Citarelli, and it looked pretty good. He looks confident, but don't let your guard down. You got to get out and vote if you live in New Jersey. Same thing, Virginia, with some Earl Seals. She needs your vote to get her over the Abigail Spanberger. She needs your vote to get and then in New York City, still get out and vote. We may lose, but you got to make your point heard, right? Point heard. Bad terminology. You got to be heard and you got to be seen. Vote for the Republican. Vote for Curtis Stilwell. Sliwa, I'm sorry. Vote for Curtis Sliwa for mayor of New York City, right? Got to make that point. It's time that Republicans stand up and make their voice heard, right? President Trump said that, and we're almost done for the day. I must have got off on a tangent talking about my 250th episode. President Trump yesterday recommended that Las Vegas be the first midterm convention for the Republican Party. It'd be the first time Las Vegas has ever been host to a convention from a political party, and it's to vote, boost turnout and win Congress, right? Because traditionally, the party in power loses seats in Congress during the midterm. It's called burnout because everything's a sprint at the very beginning, and sometimes they overshoot, right? So the president wants to keep. We all need to keep our majority for through the whole term of President Trump to get this stuff fixed. What was destroyed in the first term, not first term, in Biden's the auto pen presidency's term, right? Now, I don't know why he recommended Las Vegas, but it may be to the point is Las Vegas is like in a recession because it's so expensive to go visit there, and people just aren't going to Las Vegas anymore. They're choosing other destinations, and they need an influx of business to so they can survive. And maybe this could be a turning point for them. And even though Trump won Nevada in the presidency, he had like 50.6%. Maybe this is like a reward to them. Throw them an olive branch. No offense to King George III over there, but throw them an olive branch. So try to get more business, get more votes, right? Win more seats in the House, and bring some life-saving blood to the state economy and to the city economy in Las Vegas, Nevada. Like I tell people around here, shop local, go out to eat local. I mean, why take your good sales tax dollars and food money and go to Killeen or Harker Heights? Stay here in Copper's Cove and spend your money here, right? It helps fund the city government because a portion of our sales tax dollars come back to Copper's Cove. Why not? Or we can encourage people in Killeen to come to Copper's Cove and spend money. Does the same effect, right? And then here in Texas, we're back down to the Texas portion. The Texas Supreme Court yesterday allowed judges to refuse to officiate same-sex weddings. So I guess they were being forced to, if someone wants to get married, they have to give them a civil marriage and stuff. And now they can say, I don't, instead of I do. I don't want to officiate this one. And, anyone can go out and get ordained, whether as a Christian. I have certain criteria. People can be ordained as a pastor. But the way the law is written, you can go out, fill out a couple of sheets of paper, and then you're ordained. You can go out and perform marriages for people. But the Supreme Court said judges can be required to perform weddings. All right? I read that in the Texas scorecard. And then for voting, let's see, wait a minute. There's one more. The 5th U.S. Court of Appeals out of, I believe, New Orleans said yesterday that the Texas, for here in Texas, in Tarrant County, which is where Fort Worth is, the Tarrant County new county commissioner's map is valid. So they have 5 commissioners in Tarrant County. Like here in Coryell County, where I live at, we have 4 plus the county judge. In Tarrant County, they have 5 commissioners plus the county judge, right? So and they said it's legal because it's not race-based, it's partisan-based. It's going to take it from 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats to 4 Republicans and 1 Democrat if it votes the way they think it'll vote. There's only 2 things certain in life: death and taxes, right? Politics don't count in that. I mean, you can have the most partisan map in the world and then lose your election, right? So don't let the people, the naysayers, say, well, it's not fair. You know what? Go out, knock on doors, make phone calls, and put those worthless flyers in the mail. That's how you get elected, right? Kiss babies, flip pancakes. That's how you get the vote out, right? Not by little silly lines on a map. You got to get out there and put forth the effort to win. Talking about winning, in Texas, this sucks. The turnout as of Wednesday night for the state of Texas, because they're 1 day delayed almost, right? Because Thursday's turnout numbers, yesterday's turnout for the 30th of October will not be released till I think 9 or 10 this morning, and right now it's like 6:46 a.m., right? So Wednesday night, the turnout for Texas was only up to 4.88%. 901,471 Texans have voted. That's crazy. That's so low. We have over 30 million Texans that live in Texas, right? There's approximately probably about 20 to 22 million registered voters in Texas, and we only get 900,000. Oh, that would be about right. That's crazy low, man. Here in Coryell County, I didn't see what the Copper's Cove numbers were, but our turnout is just a little bit higher. It's a 6.38% is the turnout in Coryell County, which is 2,861 people have voted out of close to 49,000 registered voters in Coryell County. We've only got 2,800 voters so far, and we have yesterday's numbers, we have early vote today, and then we have election day voting on this coming Tuesday, November 4th. All right, you still got to get out there and vote. I just saw her come across my feed saying she liked the podcast. That's really cool. So I'm going to say right now, if you live in Copper's Cove and you're going to go to the polls today and vote for the school board, place 4, vote Samantha Cochran Wilson. For the trustee, place 4, CCISD, right? So remember, Sam Wilson, Cochran Wilson. She's worth it, right? And then the other 2 guys I like is Bradley Vaughn and Moose Smith, but she showed me some loyalty and actually liked my podcast this morning. I'm grateful. I love it. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for doing that. But vote for her. Vote for her. There's 3 bonds. I'm not going to tell you if I support or not support the 3 bonds, 3 props that are in the bond, but get out there and vote, right? And then remember, we have 17 constitutional amendments that are out there. It was so cool. Last night, me and my wife went over to friends of ours' house, And so all four of us had a discussion over all 17 constitutional amendments, low density constitutional convention going on there. And we went over all 17 propositions before voters, and we discussed and came to a consensus on all 17 of them. And so to add to our 580 constitutional amendments in the Texas Constitution. But so we all marked it so we know exactly how we're going to vote. Remember, here in Texas, you cannot take a cell phone into the polling place at all. It used to be you can go in there if you wasn't elected, because as an elected person, you can never take an electronic device into a polling place. But lots of people would go in, do their voting on their machine, and then take a picture of it to show everyone that they voted. You can't do that no more. Cell phones are not allowed in polling places at all. Not one iota of a cell phone or even a replication of one is allowed in there, right? And then I chased that rabbit just now, and I forgot what I was going to say. But don't forget, today's the last day early vote here in Texas. Get out there and do it if you can. I haven't voted yet, like I was telling you last night. And today is going to be really busy here. I got to reconfigure my whole broadcast area because I think I have to move stuff around today. We're getting some new fiber internet put in today, 2 gig fiber for like $60 or $70 a month for 10 years. It's a guaranteed price for 10 years. And I can't wait for that to get in, but I may have to move it around. But depending on the mess that's made, we may not get the vote till Tuesday, but we are voting. We're ready. We're ready to do this. Same thing, y'all people down in New York and New Jersey and Virginia, get out there and vote, right? But here, don't forget, Samantha Cochran Wilson, school board, okay? So, that being said, this is how you can reach me on X at James Pierce Jr., at Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr. You can send me an email at jp8report@gmail.com. Right now, I'm live on my group page called James A. Pierce Jr. on Facebook, and I'm live on X. And I'm still working on the YouTube thing. And then if you want to, go to the JP8 Report 67. So the JP8 Report 67 on YouTube, and just subscribe to me, right? Because I can't go live on YouTube until I hit 50 subscribers, all right? And then, let's see, today is Friday, Halloween. So Monday, I'm going to try an A/B test, all right? So I've been doing this at 6 a.m., and I'm going to try a few episodes next week at noon. And it'll help, because Monday morning I got to get labs drawn at the VA, so I'll have the podcast already written up and ready to go at noon on Monday. So we'll see how the numbers progress. Maybe it's just at 6 a.m. I got like 6 people watching right now. I was up to 8 just a minute ago. We'll have to see how this happens to go. And then one other thing, we're talking about politics, right? November 8th, next Saturday, which is my birthday, November 8th to December 8th is Republican and Democratic primaries, filing periods for office here in the state of Texas. And I can tell you here in Coryell County that from 9 to 12, we're going to be at ranchers looking for people who are going to file for the primary, for the Republican primary. And then from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, we're going to be back down here in Copper's Cove at Little Tex, right? Our party chair, Norm Mitchell, is going to head the effort because he's required to accept your application. So, and I'm going to tag along with them also. And one other thing, I know we're at 55 minutes after. Tomorrow night, at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning is fall back. So you get an extra hour of sleep for Sunday morning. So there's no excuse of being tired when you go to church on Sunday. All right? So that's your PSA for the day is don't forget to fall back Saturday night when you go to sleep. All right? So thank y'all very much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. 250th episode of the JP8 report. Be in prayer for our elected officials, especially with the president. He has good guidance going his way. All right. Y'all have a great weekend. This is James Pierce, the JP8 report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.